One of the many advantages to using a computer to perform music is that your screen can show you a lot about the music you're performing. Here's a cool way to MIDI map focus to the different parts of the Ableton Live workflow during the live performance. So to use this technique, I'm just going to show you using a basic 4-track looper template. I've colored the tracks in this looper so that you can see easily when I switch tracks. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to MIDI map to the controls on my controller, the controls I want to use for this looper. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to MIDI map this looper button to my button 1 and this fade to gray to my knob 1. And I'll go ahead and do the same thing for each of the next of the 4 tracks. So now you'll see inside of my MIDI mapping screen over here on the left, I have all of my controls mapped to the performance buttons that I need. The problem with this mapping so far is that when I trigger a looper with one of the buttons, I can't see it on the screen. So now, inside of Ableton, we have all of these little blue boxes on top of both my tracks, all of my devices, and even inside of nested devices, I can map focus to them. So to do this, I'm going to map for each of my 4 tracks the looper button to focus on the looper itself, and for the knob, for this fade to gray effect, I'm going to map the knob to focus on that fade to gray. That way, whether I'm turning the knob or triggering the looper, it pulls focus to that track. Now, mapping focus to a knob like this doesn't always work because it's not a button, it's not a trigger. So sometimes you do need to mess around with this mode down here to get it to work right. And depending on which mode you're in, different values of the knob will trigger the pull focus inside of Ableton. So now we've got that all mapped. I'll go ahead and exit MIDI map mode by either hitting Command M on my computer keyboard or just clicking this MIDI map button here. Now we can go ahead and test this. So let's say in a live situation, I'm going to go ahead and trigger the first loop. Boom. And you'll notice it selects my first track. As soon as I'm done with that first loop, I'll hit that first one again. Boom. Now let's say I'm in overdub mode. Luckily, because my computer is showing me, I'll trigger it again to exit overdub mode. That way my loop is just playing back. Now, I'm going to go ahead and trigger my second loop, jumps focus to the second one, quantizes in, launches the second looper. I can hit to record out of the second looper, get out of quantize mode. Same thing with number 3 and number 4. And the same thing for each of my knobs. So on this first knob, all I have to do is turn this, and it'll pull focus to that first one. Second one, same thing, it'll pull focus to that second track. Third one, fourth one. This way, no matter what button I push, Ableton will show me exactly what I'm changing, and it'll show me where my loopers are. Here's another pro tip. If you want, during a live performance, to zoom your computer screen in, Mac OS has a built-in utility for this. All you have to do is go up to your System Preferences, into the Accessibility menu, and go to this Zoom tab right here. I use scroll gestures with modifier keys to zoom with the Control key. And what this allows me to do is hold the Control key on my keyboard and zoom into a part of the workflow. And then my computer will zoom in and show me that section enlarged. That way, if I was using a looper template like this one, I could quickly see, judging by the colors, which looper I'm using and in what state they all are. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more tips, tutorials, and tricks like this, head on over to djtechtools.com. And if you're interested in a more personalized learning experience from wherever you are in the world, head on over to matthewraymusic.com.